There's a ditch behind the barns meant to carry rainwater safely away from the driveway, and while it's doing the job for now, it's still far from finished. The embankment behind it still needs planting, but good plants aren't cheap and we'll need a lot of them to cover that much ground. The moat itself still needs to be filled with stones, and at the bottom of the embankment we want to add some larger rocks too, so that any soil that does erode gets stopped right there instead of washing further down. There's still so much to do, and even we sometimes forget just how big this place really is. Our old yard in Belgium could fit into the part we maintain around the house close to 100 times, which basically means there are at least 100 more things on the list before we're anywhere close to done. Circumstances have pushed us to focus on the bigger jobs outside, things like landscaping and utilities, and one machine that's helped us tackle that from day one is our bobcat excavator. It's pretty awesome to see everything that got done with that machine over the years. And it's about to get back to work for the next job.
Got another leak. I can see it on the tracks there. And there as well. It's a little bit wet, but it is coming from inside the cabin. See, there's already hydraulic oil in here. Okay, plan. I'm just gonna clean it out very thoroughly, get it as clean as possible, and then I'm gonna fill it with hydraulic oil and I'm gonna see where it leaks from to be 100% sure before I start tearing stuff out of here. Okay, next up, see if we can tighten that one. Okay, this comes up pretty decently. This is leaking externally now because I'm using it. See, I already probably found it. Okay, so basically I just tightened this. So there was a small leak on this hose as well. Alright, next up, get the water out of here. Put the covers back so while I'm working there's no dirt falling in. That's a splendid idea. Goed kijken, hè Gracie? Want ik ga dat niet altijd blijven doen. Ja, dat is wel een machine. Dat is voor u dan, hè Gracie? Voilà.
While Philippe got to work, my dad pitched in where he could while watching Gracie, so I could get some bit of work done myself. This is the end of the ditch, or moat if you will, the part where the water will eventually flow into the garden and into a small pond. It's also the part that connects the driveway to the paths Philippe's been working on, leading toward the veggie garden and the land higher up. But that connection between the two isn't defined yet, and right now it's messy, not easy to cross, and every time we do cross it, stones from the driveway tend to erode and fall away. So it's time to build some proper infrastructure, something to connect both parts, and to use the big pipe to collect the water that will flow once the rains come back.
There's a spot with rocks here. I noticed it when I started digging the driveway. There was an old road here as well. I don't know, 300, 400, 500 years, who knows, that this has been a farm and everybody does something and then nature covers it and then somebody else does something else. It's the same that I discovered the road going up, the roads behind the barns. I know some people thought I was crazy, but there was a door at the back of the barn, so there used to be a road and not the hill. I found some in the garden. When I just did the garden, there's a road going down, which is perfectly normal to the fields there, so, but it sucks if you want to dig in it. Okay, that's coming down, that's good. Voila, this is exactly what I want. Under this virgin soil, I can put easy 20 to 30 020 for a bed, place my pipe on, and then I can fill in the rest with the 020, but then I'm sure that underneath my pipe it's not only this clay soil, so it doesn't shift too quickly. The reason I didn't choose the trenching sand is because I'm a little bit afraid with all the water coming through that the trenching sand would just flow away, yeah, with all the water. So that's why I chose the 020 to have a little bit more grit to it. Tonight, when it's a little bit darker, I'm gonna have a look at the excavator if I can spot the leak a little bit better. There's too much sunlight. Once the sun is down, I'll have a look and hopefully I can spot it, so I can at least see if I need to order something, or maybe I can just tighten it. Hello. That's a beautiful bird. There is a droplet there, and there is a droplet there. It is coming, I think, from that. Okay, so we'll see if we can tighten it. Let's try with that. Tighten it a little bit. Problem is I need to be very careful because it's a hose clamp. If I over tighten it, I destroy a teeth and then I'm totally lost. Well, not lost, but that means that I have to go in there and it's really tight spot. It might seem counterproductive what I'm doing is cleaning the machine like a crazy guy, but that enables me now to spot where the drips are coming from. I could see a drip underneath and I can see one higher, and that way you can track where it goes. If it's all full of dust and oil, there's no way you're gonna track it, no way. Unless it's a big leak, but this is like a weeping leak. Ah, that machine is not working as it's supposed to work. And it's not mine, so I'm gonna set it aside. I don't want to break it. He's been here one time because I told him it's not running well. And it's either I'm crazy, but it's not running well now either. I think it should be a lot more stable and Okay, here we pass, here it comes out. Good, and there we have a little bit of room as well. And we have, just check a little bit, we have plenty on top. Gonna cover it almost equal with the 0-20. Then we're gonna pour a little concrete above it. Okay.
This video is sponsored by Incogni, and here's why it caught our attention. Since we moved to France and switched to French phone numbers, we've been getting scam calls every single day, a robot voice that's trying to sell you something, a package delivery we didn't order, or the moment you actually pick up, you hear a click and then they just hang up. It's relentless and honestly really annoying. And here's the thing, it's not random. There are hundreds of companies called data brokers that collect your personal information from public records, social media, loyalty cards, and then sell it to everyone willing to pay. You could opt out of each one manually, but that would take hours and they would just re-add you anyway. And as long as your data is out there, they can find you. That's what Incogni solves. You give them permission once and they send out removal requests to hundreds of data brokers on your behalf automatically and on a rolling basis so your data doesn't creep back. And with their custom removals feature, you can send them a direct link of anywhere your information appears online, and a real privacy expert will handle the takedown for you. Because they can't harm you if they can't find you. It's the only data removal service to have its processes independently verified by Deloitte. So you can take back your personal data with Incogni, use this link that's also in the description box below, and the code DOMAIN for 60% off an annual plan.
Will be very noisy, very noisy. Voila, we have still 25 centimeters, and that's not even the finished level. So we have 30 centimeters that can go on top. So that means I can easily put a little concrete pad of 15, maybe something like this, with some reinforcement on top, just to make sure it doesn't budge. And then from there on, I'm gonna put my geotextile and then fill up the road. That's gonna be the plan. But before I can fill up the road, I need to open up here and find the water line and connect to it, and then go around to the chicken coop. So still some work to do, but this is good, this is good.
Gracie.
Voilà. Okie. Oh, careful with that. Okay, next up the wooden boards. I was able to lend these from someone I know, just from up. And they were already used to pour concrete, so that's perfect. Yeah. This what I'm doing here, I'll have to do up there as well to make a crossing from the swale towards the fields, and I'm gonna pour concrete over it as well, just to make sure it's good for always. It is time that I use them. I already feel it. They were a little bit hard. Yeah. Papa is hier. Voilà. Kijk Odin, grote roofvogel. Boven ons huis. Zie je? Voor wat dat ik dat maak? Ja. Omdat we daar beton gaan ingieten. En dan kunnen we hier met een grote tractor over, met een grote kraan.
Of met een grote dag.
Ja, maar alles dat zwaar is, want anders zou misschien die buis kapot kunnen gaan. Er komt wel veel nog over, maar toch. Better safe than sorry. This is 20, so 15, somewhere around here. It will be plenty. And then now we put it a little bit in its place.
You might not have noticed, but during the last video we were actually wearing sweaters almost the whole time because the weather had shifted into a proper cold spell. We even had to light the wood stove in the mornings and the evenings just to take the chill out of the house. Then, with barely any time to adjust, everything flipped and the weather swung into real heat, so now it's summer mode, sweating through the work.
Oké, dankjewel. Oh.
Je moet je plaats.
Niet loslaten. Oké, wachten, nog vasthouden. Je doet dat heel goed. Je bent eigenlijk heel goed, papa, nu al echt aan het helpen. Voilà. Oké, heel goed, Odin. It's really at an age that I can ask certain stuff and it's actually helping me. So it's not only him learning, but he's actually helping. Like simple stuff, holding this up, I can't do it alone, so. Hier.
Vasthouden.
Hier, kom hier. Ja, gieten. Ik heb vast. Ja, gieten, gieten, gieten. Nog. Voilà, dankjewel Odin. Trekken, vastpakken zo en trekken. Hè? Ja, ja. Oké, blijven vasthouden. Oké, heel goed. Ja, oké, giet maar. Voilà, perfect Odin. Voorzichtig Odin, dat je niet je ding omvalt, hè. Ja, oké. Heel goed. Ja, ja. Ja, doe maar. Ja. Voilà.
Mama,
Ja.
onder de parasol.
De parasol staat daar, zodat iedereen schaduw heeft.
Ja.
Anders zijn we zoals gisteren een beetje te veel in de zon.
Maar ik onder de parasol ligt. Mag je bij je?
Nee, dat is in Bergerac.
Oké.
Maar iemand kan me zien. Kun je me zien? Mama?
Ja, ben je Shem?
Nee, jij bent niet mama.
Ik ben jouw nieuwe mama.
Nee, jij.
I'm Confucius.
Nee, papi is mijn nieuwe papi.
Is papi jouw nieuwe papi? It's again a big difference. Oh, look at this. There's almost nothing left of these blades. Voila. Okay. Good. Oui. Hein? Ah, heel goed.
Maar mijn mank.
Oké.
Wat gebeurt, papa?
Wel, we steken het terug eronder en dan de band oppompen. Ja, doe maar. Ja, doe maar. Hier. Zie je dat de band omhoog komt?
Throughout spring, we let the grass grow long to give insects, butterflies and bees a chance as they emerged from their winter slumber. But now it was time to clean it up again before it got too long. With the yard cut back down, Philippe brought in our trusty robot mowers who've been helping us keep the garden in shape for a few years now. He made sure to clear some of the obstacles first so the mowers can do their job efficiently.
Voila. It is going to be a long and very hot day, 35 degrees. We had to go to the hospital this morning to get Gracie her hips checked out, but everything is fine. I'll just start pouring any minute now. I already got all my sand, I got all my cement. It's not the perfect weather to do this, but it's gonna be hot like this for several weeks, I even think. I think it has begun. I'm just binding it together. This is gonna be one hell of a day. I can feel it already. Voila. Can't find all my buckets, but I do have an idea where it will have remained. Probably in the forest somewhere. I'm missing two. Voila! I found them inside the forest. Now I have to empty them.
Hij had ze gevonden. De adders.
Ah ja, bij deze.
Waar lagen?
Bij deze. In het bos.
In het bos?
Ja, tuurlijk ja.
Oei. For the concrete, Philippe is using a mix of sand and small stones. The strength he's aiming for is somewhere close to C25 or C30, which will be more than enough for this little bridge he's building.
Check.
degrees.
I don't want it to be flat. I want it to have a little bit of relief. How do you say it? I want it to be a little bit coarse on top because there will be rocks coming on top, and I want the rocks to grip a little bit in the concrete. This is just to keep the heat off a little bit. so it doesn't dry too quickly, because that's bad as well. It's already not a good idea to pour it when it's 35 degrees, but it looks okay. It wasn't a big pour, and if I cover it up now, it should be fine. This same principle I'll have to do up there as well. I have a second ecopal that I want to put up there so the road can cross, and I'm gonna put a concrete on top as well. Just 100% sure, never, if I put the 020 underneath to the sides and then concrete on top, it will never move. Well, that's my idea anyways. Probably drying out a little bit too fast, but that was to be expected with 35 degrees. Yesterday I covered it up. I think I'm gonna wetten it now, just to give it a little bit more moisture content. And then I think I'm gonna try to already take this off and then cover it up again for the rest of the day. By adding water now, you're not gonna make it weaker anymore. It's just to prevent a little bit cracking. Here in this corner I'm gonna put a sloping concrete, so this will be better. I'm perfectly happy with this. I'm happy how it came out. I'm happy in this heat that I was able to pour it. And it's showing no signs of cracking. So the only thing that I did, I added fibers to the top layer, because that's the one suffering the most from the heat, and those help against cracking.